Hello YouTube friends and subscribers and followers and that. As you know, my H2 project went on hold for a while I did a few other bikes and I was racing. Now the project is back on. Now we found out what the problem was with the rattle we had. It was, as I've mentioned in other videos, if you've listened to any of my other videos, it was a cam chain tensioner not giving enough pressure to tension the chain up. Now the chain was rattling, but it wasn't enough to skip a tooth. So because, as you know, my environment's not clean enough to mess about with internals of engines, I sent it to my engine builder, does my drag bike engines. He had a look at it. He found the problem because I didn't even strip it, and he then fitted a new one, rechecked all the timing and made sure that it was dialed in correctly, and everything else while he was there. So I got the engine back yesterday, and today I am going to do my first part of putting it back in. How far I'll get today, I don't know, because once I've got, I think, the nuts and bolts in, I will be having a brew break as always, because it was quite energetic to get it where you're going to see it now, because I had to try and lift it, which with one leg only that could take the weight. It is a nightmare, and I'm not as strong as I used to be. I used to be able to lift car engines out on my own and stuff like that, but at the moment it's not. So all the problems of being an amputee anyway. So I'll show you now. I have managed to get it on straps onto my winch in my garage, and you can see the winch here. I've got two ratchet straps on it, one around the barrels, and it's gone round like a second time so that it doesn't slip off, and one's around under the sump and back. Now when you try and lift the engine in, it's got to be two different lengths of cable on each one. I'll show you now. I'll try and adjust the camera while we're still recording. Right, there we go. Because this one has to be slightly longer, which is the one for going round the sump, than this one, because this one here has to be to try and get the angle of the engine in the correct position. Now I haven't fully lifted it yet because I'm just going to double check that it's not going to try and slip off somewhere, which it might do there. It might do there, but if I can get this bolt in, and one of these two in, that'll give me at least it'll be held. Now I can adjust each one of these by doing the ratchet strap up, but once I've gone up, if I go too far past, it will I can't undo it, because once you try and undo a ratchet strap, it will just fall straight to the floor. So I will, because if I get this one in, it might be easier, because you see on these H2s you've got two there, you can see it, two there and two there on each side that bolt into this plate which holds the swing arm on. Now two of them are up here and they have locating lugs which are there, which are replaceable if you want to, and the bottom two don't, and they go in there. Now I'm trying to put it in a slightly different way than last time, and they were the last things I took out, taking it out, which really I should have left this particular one probably in and then took them out. Obviously I did have the weight held on ratchet straps, as you can see from here. Now looking at the angle, I have spilt some oil when I've been trying to get it up on the round, because it did have oil in it. Looking at it from the angle here, we may have to adjust the back one to go up a bit more. So I'm going to just adjust the straps, make sure the straps are not going to fall off anywhere before I start winching it up any further. So I will get back to you when I've just adjusted the straps and see where we go. Hi, well, I've got 2 engine bolts in, but firstly I'll correct myself on something that I said before, which is totally wrong information, partly because I'm so used to doing engine, putting engines in on other types of Kawasaki's. This is not an engine bolt, this one. This holds your rear subframe and that back plate together. You have these here, them there on each side, and 4 at the back as I showed before. But anyway, I've got this one in and on both sides. So if I can lower it a little bit on the front, I can probably get the front one in, and then I'll go to the rear ones. So that's what I'll do next. But it's easier doing it with 2 straps like this, with ratchets that you can adjust a bit. I did have to adjust the front one a little bit to bring that up, because the back end was catching on an angle it shouldn't be. It was more like that sort of thing. So the back end ended up pulling it that way by doing that ratchet up. As I say, this one's around the barrels. You see it go across round, and this one comes round down under the sump. And it's under the sump, under the oil cooler, and back up. It doesn't slip if you've got it round that particular way. And make sure it comes up round here, the back end side of the starter motor, and then back round. And then if you've got the ratchet strap that goes over the top of itself, it'll tighten itself anyway. So anyway, so I'm going to try and get this one in next. Probably just, hopefully, lower it down a little bit. No, not quite. I'm going to have to adjust probably the back ratchet strap tighter, and then try and bring that round, or get a bit of a wedge in there to try and bring it round. But anyway, I'll have a go at that, and we surely will get that front engine mount in, no problem at all. So I'll go and do that now, rather than leaving it running and making the video too long. I'll do that now, and then we'll get back to what's next on it. Hi, well, I've got all the engine bolts in now, but what you have to do is these upper ones you can get in with very gently with a little pry bar, just to try and get them to locate, because they've got little locating like dowels before it goes around the bolts. So those ones went in okay, these went in okay, but you had a big gap on the bottom one here. Best way of doing it is loosen all this off, but keeping it to a certain tension so the back's not going to fall over. Is jack it on where the in between the 2 dog bones on the round bolt thingy that what's the name, where the, I think it's where the original exhaust bolts to. No, it's not. What's it for, that? Right, some of you may know. Oh, I know what it is. Yes, it is which the original exhaust where the cat was, because there's a big cat underneath here that bolted into there. So if you jack it up from there, it actually closes up this gap, and then you can get the bottom, should say the lower, what they call swing arm mount bolts. I think that's what they call it in the book. These ones don't have thread lock on them. They didn't come thread lock from the factory. So they're 44 Newton meters. These 2 on each side have thread lock on them. Red Japanese thread lock, which I believe is non-permanent thread lock, but the UK stuff is permanent or something like that. Anyway, if you get by the original engine bolts, when you take the engine out and put them back in again, which is advised, because in case the bolts stretch or they get damaged and so on and that, they'll already be on it. So those ones are 44 Newton meter as well with thread lock. The only other part that is bolted to the engine and the frame is on the other side. It's the side stand mount. The 2 bolts that bolt to the engine are 49 Newton meters, and the one with the nut is also 49 Newton meters. So they're slightly different than the rest of them, which are 44 Newton meters. So the engine's in now. and we'll see where we go from there. I'm going to have a brew break, and I will either let you know after my brew break whether I'm continuing with it or whether that's it for this particular video. Okay, speak to you again shortly. Hi, back again. What I've done now is, the reason why I took the clutch slave cylinder off was because I didn't want to split the chain. I've got quite a big sprocket on there. I think I've got a 19, yeah, I've got a 19 on there, which is, if you look carefully, it's the biggest I can pretty much get on there. But anyway, what I did is I put the sprocket in on the chain. I'm going to show you a quick show. Yeah, I was just saying I will be putting a new washer and nut on this, but basically I put the sprocket in on the chain, pulled it across, put it on before you do anything on this side first. Then you would put your new washer and your nut on there like that, and then you pull up the clutch slave cylinder on, which you can see bolts there, here and there. Now mine's slightly different because I have my Pro Shift electronic gear change solenoid, which then bolts onto that one of the clutch, and nut and bolt through on this bit, which would normally be this hole here. That would normally be your clutch, sorry, your inner sprocket cover would go bolt there as well. So I'm going to put this on next. You've got to put this on before you can even put this hose pipe on. There's a hose pipe that links from there to there, because you need to get to the bolts here. So this will be first. Now, a couple of my nuts and bolts, if you look carefully, where are we? Slightly rounded, slightly damaged. So I've got some new ones I'm going to be putting in as well. So I'm going to do that next. Put this clutch cylinder in next. Show you where we're up to on that, and then I will put my Pro Shift gear change on. Probably will be loosely until I can get my washer and my new nut that goes on that. And then that might be it for today. We'll see. I'm just doing this bit first before I forget, because what I tend to do is do everything else and then realize I've got to take other stuff off to do this. And then also I need to tighten up these bolts, which is for your side stands, but the 2 to the engine and 1 nut and bolt on the chassis. So I'll do that now and get back to you and see where we're up to. Right, as you see now, my slave cylinder's on. I've temporarily put the nut and the flange in the washer, which you're peeing over. I normally peeing over in 3 spots at least. And then my Pro Shift gear change is on, connected. That's going to be 90 degree, otherwise you won't get full throw one way or the other. The hose pipe's on. I've put Goodrich braided lines on, so I've took the original hard line off and put the braided one on, just to give me more space in the particular area for the wiring, because as you see there's a lot of wiring to go next. So I'll move on to the next bit, and you know, I'll be back with you soon. Hi everyone. Well, what I've done so far and on this particular video is I've managed to put the back end back together, including indicators, number plate, unfortunately large number plate for MOT. I've took off the rear wheel so I can bleed the rear caliper, because I have all that connected up now with or the thumb brake and the foot brake all connected up, ready to bleed, which has just been started to bleed but needs a lot more. I have sorted the wiring as much as I can, except for a few bits. My electronic gear change just been fitted in there, and the plenum's not on yet because I've had to order another tube. It's gone missing from here and somewhere else, so I'm waiting for that to come. Hose pipes are on. Still waiting for some header gaskets, so I've not been able to put the downpipes on yet. The wiring, most of this, as you can see, looks like a rat's nest, but it's the power commander, a secondary fuel injection module. We have an ignition module, and we also have the power commander 5. The pair valve's been blocked off, and we had a little device that just doesn't open engine management light for now. On this side, I fitted the inner part of the air filter box, and I have any pipes, tubes, new fuel line for the tank is on, my electronic gear change is on, the clutch master cylinder on, the clutch is all bled through. It just needs a bit of fluid sort of cleaning off. Fuel pipes out, it's fuel pipes on, hoses on there, the bigger hose to the side, and that is it. Rear hugger put on because that was taken off at one point. So it's coming on, now. So today is, I'm not sure what I will be doing on tomorrow's video. I will probably be doing as much as I can. See what turns up in the post as well. So thank you very much for watching this part 1. Hopefully it's only going to be a 2-part video, and everything should be up and running now that we know and solved the issues we had from 18 months ago. Well, nearly 18 months ago. So there we go. Thank you very much for watching this part, and hopefully see you in the next part. Please subscribe and share as much as you can. I am a left leg above knee amputee, as some of you may know. I'm trying to be an inspiration to people more than a fountain of knowledge sort of thing. I am working from my own garage. I do not have a business or anything, so everything I do and done is from self-taught, except for what I learned on the car motor trade. But the motorcycle motor trade is self-taught, and sort of things I've adapted from the car trade and then sort of learned as I've gone along. I do have quite a few motorcycles, so there's always something on the go. And when the racing finally starts again, unfortunately we not had anything yet this year. I don't know whether we will or we won't. So I will speak to you again shortly.